At 80, looking back, I realized that life is a big stage and we are mere actors. If I could go back in time and talk to my 50-year-old self, the first lesson I would give would be, learn to be bored without distractions. This is a superpower these days. Look around you. Who is draining your energy? Cut those vampires out of your life without mercy. Worrying is a waste of energy. It never solves anything. And what about sleep? Sleep. It's the best legal doping there is. Prioritize your hours of rest. Focus on the steps, not just the goals. If someone isn't good for you, heed your instincts and distance yourself. The truth is that happiness isn't something to wait for, but something to create in the present. And what about your body? Treat it like a temple, not a battlefield. Today, more than ever, it's vital to cultivate relationships that inspire. The future belongs to those who prepare today. And since we are here, remember, life is short, so live as if today were your last day. What will you do with that? But before we continue, I ask you to subscribe to our channel and help us grow. Comment below with your city, so I can see how far my message is reaching. Self-knowledge and mental health. When I think about the era we live in, I can't help but notice how boredom has become a real taboo. Dealing with boredom today seems to be a superpower that few master. In a world full of distractions, social media, streaming, games, it's almost as if we're in a constant race to avoid moments of stillness. But the truth is that learning to embrace boredom can be liberating. For me, it's an invitation to reflection, a space for creativity to flourish. When I allow myself to feel boredom, I discover new perspectives on life and reconnect with myself. Avoiding boredom without resorting to distractions is a challenge, but it's in that space that self-knowledge intensifies. When I'm alone with my thoughts, I'm forced to confront my insecurities and fears. Instead of succumbing to the urge to fill every second with entertainment, I look for ways to explore my feelings and ideas. Sometimes this means simply sitting in silence and observing what surrounds me, or even jotting down my thoughts in a notebook. This exercise in introspection becomes a means of better understanding my emotions and reactions, which ultimately enhances my mental health. Moreover, I've learned the importance of surrounding myself with people who do not drain my energy. I've been through relationships that, instead of uplifting me, left me exhausted. These energy vampires have the ability to suck our vitality without us realizing it. That's why I've come to value those who add to my life, who inspire me and challenge me positively. Cultivating these healthy relationships has become fundamental to my well-being. The exchange of ideas, laughter, and mutual support not only strengthens bonds but also contributes to a more robust mental health. Reflecting on this, I realize that the quality of my relationships is crucial. Every interaction I have is an opportunity to learn and grow. Over time, I've learned to identify the signs that a friendship or relationship is not good for me, and while it's hard to let go, I realize it's necessary for my own development. By surrounding myself with people who share similar values and motivate me to be the best version of myself, my mindset and happiness evolve significantly. Finally, self-knowledge is a continuous process. Each day brings new experiences and lessons. As I learn to deal with boredom and cultivate healthy relationships, I find that I am becoming stronger and more self-aware. Ultimately, this journey of self-discovery is not only about understanding who I am, but also about how I can better connect with others and the world around me. It's a self-reinforcing cycle, leading to a more balanced and fulfilling state of mental health. Self-awareness and mental health. Self-awareness is not just about knowing our likes and dislikes. It is a deep process that involves forgiving ourselves and others. Throughout life, we all make mistakes, and the ability to forgive is not a simple task. I myself have gone through times when I clung to past errors, unable to move forward. Self-criticism can be devastating, and at times I felt as if I was trapped in a cycle of guilt and regret. However, by understanding that we are all doing our best with what we have learned, I began to release that emotional burden. Forgiving myself was an essential step in my growth. Each time I relived a mistake, I realized it wasn't just a failure, but an opportunity for learning. Gradually, I came to understand that forgiveness does not mean forgetting, but rather accepting that the past is part of my journey. When I allowed myself to let go of that burden, a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders and the freedom I felt was transformative. Now I see my mistakes as stepping stones to self-awareness, not as insurmountable barriers. And what about forgiving others? This part is equally complex but no less important. We all have our struggles, and often the actions of others are reflections of their own experiences and traumas. I learned that by forgiving others, I am not only freeing them from their emotional debts but also liberating myself. It is an act of courage and empathy. When I let go of hurt and anger, I create space for love and new relationships. This doesn't mean I have to reconcile with everyone, but rather that I can move forward without the weight of resentment. The practice of forgiveness requires patience and self-care. It is not something that happens overnight, but a process that demands reflection and understanding. In many cases, this translates into inner conversations where I analyze my feelings and seek to understand what truly bothers me. In doing so, I realize that often the pains I carry are more about me than about the other person. This awareness helps me to depersonalize the situation and view it from a new perspective. Ultimately, forgiveness, both for myself and for others, is a powerful way to take care of my mental health. As I continue down this path of self-awareness, I see that each step is an opportunity to become a lighter and more conscious version of myself. Life is full of challenges, but with forgiveness as an ally, I feel better equipped to face whatever comes my way. Physical health and well-being. When we talk about health, we often think of diet and exercise, but one of the most underrated aspects is sleep. For me, sleep is like a legal performance drug. I have gone through periods of insomnia and restless nights, and I can say that this impacts not only my body but also my mind. When I don't get enough rest, my ability to concentrate diminishes, I become irritable, and often even the motivation to perform simple tasks disappears. It's incredible how something so basic can have such a profound effect on our lives. Over time, I realized that prioritizing sleep is one of the best investments I can make in my health. I learned to create a nighttime routine that helps me relax before bed. This includes turning off electronics, reading a book, or practicing meditation. These small rituals not only improve the quality of my sleep, but also provide me with moments of tranquility in a hectic world. When I sleep well, I feel I can face the day with more clarity and energy, and this reflects in all areas of my life. Another fundamental aspect I discovered is the impact of physical exercise on my mental health. For a long time, I viewed exercise merely as a way to stay fit, but over time, I realized that it is an underutilized antidepressant. Whenever I feel down or overwhelmed, a simple walk or workout session can lift my mood. It's almost magical how the body releases endorphins, creating that sense of well-being. Thus, exercise has become a non-negotiable part of my routine. Additionally, diet also plays a crucial role in my mental and physical health. What I put on my plate affects my mood, energy, and disposition. When I opt for healthy and nutritious foods, I feel that my body responds positively, whereas a diet high in sugar and processed foods tends to leave me lethargic and irritable. Learning to eat mindfully and listen to my body has been a process that helped me develop a healthier relationship with food. Finally, the connection between physical and mental health is undeniable. Every time I take care of my body, I am also taking care of my mind. Practicing proper sleep, regular exercise, and a balanced diet are not just measures to maintain weight, but rather the pillars of a healthy and fulfilling life. By integrating these habits into my routine, I have not only improved my health, but I have also become a happier and more balanced version of myself. Physical health and well-being. The importance of prioritizing physical activities and healthy practices cannot be underestimated. As we age, maintaining an active lifestyle becomes even more essential to avoid health problems in the future. When I look at my life, I realize that consistency is key. It's not about following fleeting exercise trends or diets, but rather finding a balance that I can maintain long-term. This vision has helped me create a commitment to my well-being that is not just about the present, but about the future. Regular physical activity not only strengthens my body, but also improves my mental health. I've found that by incorporating exercise into my routine, I'm not just doing something for my physical health, but also taking care of my mind. The act of moving my body releases tension and gives me a sense of freedom and clarity. Every drop of sweat is a step toward a healthier, happier me. And the best part is that I don't need a fancy gym. A run in the park or a simple walk already makes a big difference. Forgiving yourself and others. It's curious how life teaches us to be hard on ourselves. I used to be so hard on myself for mistakes made, as if I were a superhero who couldn't fail. But over time, I realized that, in fact, we are all just trying to do our best with what we have. This idea that we need to be perfect is a trap. The truth is that we are all constantly learning, and forgiving ourselves is one of the keys to mental health. When I allowed myself to make mistakes, I began to understand that this is part of the journey. Forgiving others is an extension of that process. Often, we hold on to grudges that turn into unnecessary weights in our emotional backpack. I remember a specific situation where a friendship faded. For a long time I felt angry, thinking that the other person had disappointed me. But upon reflecting on what happened, I realized that, like me, they were also dealing with their own struggles and frustrations. This helped me let go of the weight of resentment and see the situation in a new light. Forgiveness doesn't mean you agree with everything that happened or that you erase the bad memories. It's more about freeing yourself from the emotional burden that those memories carry. When I finally managed to forgive both myself and others, the lightness was palpable. It allowed me to move forward, making space for new experiences and relationships. Life became more colorful, and the weight I once carried began to dissipate. An interesting aspect of this process is the connection it establishes with empathy. When we can look at others with a kinder gaze, we understand that everyone has their struggles. This understanding also facilitates self-forgiveness. If I can forgive someone for their shortcomings, then I can also be more understanding of myself. This exchange of empathy is essential for our emotional well-being. By forgiving ourselves, we create a positive cycle that benefits not only us but also those around us. Ultimately, the practice of forgiveness can be a daily exercise. Sometimes it's necessary to remind yourself that it's okay not to be perfect, that mistakes are a part of life. This includes forgiving yourself for procrastinations, failures in relationships, and even for not achieving the goals you set. Over time, this exercise becomes second nature and brings an invaluable sense of freedom. Forgiveness, at its core, is a form of self-care, and taking care of yourself is the first step toward a mentally healthy life. The importance of sleep. Sleep. For many, it's just a necessity, but for me, it has become a priority. I used to think that sleeping less was a sign of strength and productivity. I was mistaken. Over time, I realized that sleep is one of the best performance drugs we have at our disposal. When I didn't get enough sleep, my ability to concentrate and even my mood were compromised. Waking up well-rested brings an energy that, honestly, doesn't exist in any coffee, no matter how strong. One of the things I learned is that the quality of sleep is just as crucial as the quantity. You can sleep 8 hours, but if the quality of that sleep is poor, it won't do you much good. I invested in a good mattress and created an environment conducive to rest. Turning off the lights, avoiding screens before bed, and establishing a sleep routine significantly improved my quality of life. Now, when I wake up, I feel like I've truly rested. This has a direct impact on my productivity and overall well-being. Moreover, sleep plays a fundamental role in mental health. Studies show that lack of sleep is linked to issues such as anxiety and depression. I've personally gone through periods where stress kept me awake at night, and it reflected in a very unstable emotional state. By prioritizing sleep, I noticed that my ability to handle difficult situations improved considerably. Sleeping well is undoubtedly one of the best self-care practices we can adopt for our mental health. Another interesting point is that sleep directly influences our creativity. When I'm well rested, ideas seem to flow more easily. I've noticed that on nights with little sleep, my mind feels foggy, and I can't think clearly. In contrast, after a good night's sleep, I feel like I can tackle creative challenges in a way that surprises me. This connection between sleep and creativity is something we cannot underestimate. Finally, the importance of sleeping well goes beyond the individual. When we're well rested, our social interactions improve. This is because we are more patient, more empathetic, and less reactive. Sleep affects how we relate to others, and consequently, our mental and emotional health. Therefore, if you haven't given your sleep the attention it deserves, I'd say it's time to change that. The simple act of prioritizing rest can transform not only your life, but also the quality of the relationships around you. Exercise and diet. I always knew that physical exercise is important, but it really hit home when I realized that it's one of the most effective antidepressants available, all without a prescription. When I started incorporating physical activities into my routine, I noticed a significant change in my mood. What used to be days of discouragement and lack of motivation became lighter and more productive. The endorphins released during and after exercise are a true magic that transforms the day. The beauty of exercise is that it doesn't have to be extreme or elaborate. Small habits like walking, biking, or even dancing at home make a huge difference. I found a style of activity that I enjoy, and that made everything much easier. The secret is to find something that fits your lifestyle. When you have fun while exercising, it becomes a pleasurable routine rather than an obligation. Additionally, the connection between diet and mental health is something I used to overlook. The food we put into our bodies affects our minds in ways we don't always perceive. When I started paying attention to what I ate, I noticed that a balanced diet helped me feel more energetic and focused. Nutrient-rich foods like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains are fuel for the mind. They not only nourish the body, but also improve mood and mental clarity. Another interesting point is that exercise and good nutrition go hand in hand. When I began exercising regularly, I automatically started paying more attention to my diet. It's as if one healthy habit pulls the other along. Besides feeling better physically, I noticed that this change made me more conscious of what I put on my plate. This synergy between physical activity and diet has proven to be a true ally in the pursuit of a more balanced life. Finally, it's essential to remember that exercise and healthy eating aren't just a phase, they're a lifestyle. What I've learned along the way is that taking care of myself, both physically and mentally, is a form of respect. It's not just about appearance, but about how I feel and how that impacts my life. Maintaining this connection between body and mind is a fundamental step toward well-being. Each passing day, I realize that investing in physical and mental health is the best gift I can give myself. Prioritizing physical activities and healthy practices. In recent years, the importance of prioritizing physical activities and healthy practices has become an undeniable reality for me. In the past, I used to put my health on the back burner, believing that I had plenty of time to take care of myself later. But the truth is that time waits for no one, and health issues don't just appear overnight. They accumulate, and when you least expect it, you may find yourself dealing with serious consequences. With this awareness, I decided it was time to make a change. Incorporating physical activities into my routine isn't just about going to the gym. I've found ways to stay active that fit into my life, and more importantly, that I enjoy. Whether it's a walk in the park, a light run, or even a yoga class, the important thing is to keep the body moving. Over time, this has become a pleasurable habit and not just a mandatory activity. This shift in mindset was crucial for me to truly prioritize my health. In addition to exercise, adopting healthy practices in other areas of my life has also made a huge difference. I began to pay attention to my nutrition, my sleep, and even how I manage stress. Self-care has become a priority, and this includes moments of pause and relaxation. I've learned that health is not just the absence of illness, but a state of physical, mental, and emotional well-being. This integrated view has helped me understand that all areas of life are interconnected. Prioritizing physical activities and healthy practices. I've always heard that health is our greatest asset, but I truly understood this only when I started prioritizing physical activities in my routine. At first, the idea of working out or running seemed like torture, a boring obligation that I simply didn't want to face. But as I began to commit, I realized that those moments of activity started to transform into something much more important than I had imagined. They became sacred time for me, a space where I could disconnect from the stresses of daily life and reconnect with myself. One point that caught my attention is the importance of consistency. It's not just about doing a marathon of exercises in a single day and then spending the rest of the week on the couch. The real magic happens when we incorporate these healthy practices into our daily routine. I started to see physical activity as an investment in my future. Every drop of sweat was not just an effort, but a step toward a healthier and more fulfilling life. And let's face it, staying active is a way to avoid health issues that may arise later on. In addition to physical activity, healthy eating also entered my life more intensely. I learned the importance of nourishing my body with foods that strengthen it, rather than just satisfying momentary hunger. When I started eating better, I noticed a change not only in my physical health but also in my mental health. I felt more energetic, more alert, and, in a way, happier. The connection between what we put into our bodies and how we feel is a reality that we cannot ignore. And it's not just about what we eat or how much we exercise. I also learned the importance of rest and recovery. Sometimes we forget that our bodies need time to recover and strengthen. Prioritizing sleep as part of my routine was a game changer. Sleeping well is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. The impact of this on my mood, my productivity, and even my ability to face daily challenges is undeniable. In the end, prioritizing physical activities and healthy practices has become a lifestyle choice, not just a task to be checked off a list. It's a commitment I make to myself, not only for the present, but to ensure that I can enjoy life with quality in the future. Every step taken, every healthy meal chosen, every night of restorative sleep is a small victory that adds up and, over time, makes all the difference. Setting clear goals. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned in life is about the importance of setting clear goals. We live in a world where we're often bombarded by ideas and trends, and this can create a sense of confusion and disorientation. Dreaming is great, but without a plan to turn those dreams into reality, they can end up being nothing more than fantasies. It was from the moment I started establishing specific goals that my life really began to change. When I talk about goals, I'm not just referring to grand objectives, but to small steps that will take me where I want to go. It's like building a staircase. Every step counts. I began to break my objectives down into smaller, more manageable parts. For example, if my dream was to run a marathon, instead of stressing over the total distance, I focused on running a certain number of kilometers each week, gradually increasing it. This approach gave me a sense of constant progress and motivated me to keep going. Moreover, I realized it's crucial to have a deadline for these goals. Without a set time, the tendency is to procrastinate. When I set specific dates to achieve each of my objectives, my mind started to work differently. The urgency pushed me to take action. And of course, the satisfaction that comes from crossing off a completed goal is indescribable. That feeling of accomplishment is like fuel that motivates me to keep moving forward and set new challenges. But that's not all. I learned that for my goals to work, I need to review and adjust them as necessary. Life is full of surprises, and it's natural for circumstances to change. Instead of feeling frustrated when something didn't go as planned, I began to see it as a learning opportunity. This flexibility helped me stay focused and not give up easily, even when obstacles appeared along the way. Finally, surrounding myself with people who share the same goals or who are positive and motivating made all the difference. Having a support network is essential for personal growth. Conversations with friends or mentors who believe in me and my goals have encouraged me to believe in myself more. The energy and enthusiasm of these people are contagious, and that's why I always seek to be close to those who inspire me and motivate me to be a better version of myself. Surrounding yourself with positive people. Surrounding myself with positive and motivating people is one of the most impactful decisions I've made in my life. Sometimes we don't realize it, but the people we choose to relate to can play a crucial role in our journey. I remember a time when I was surrounded by negative people who only complained and dismissed my goals. The effect this had on me was devastating. My motivation plummeted, and I felt trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction and discouragement. When I recognized this situation, I decided it was time for a change. I began to seek friendships that inspired me, that shared my interests, and that, above all, were positive. The impact was immediate. By surrounding myself with people who believe in their own dreams and support each other, I also started to believe more in myself and my goals. This change in social environment not only improved my mental health, but also gave me a new outlook on life. One of the things I learned in this process is that often, one person's energy can influence another's. When someone around me is excited and motivated, it reflects on me. Enthusiasm and excitement are contagious. That's why I strive to be around people who aren't afraid to dream big, who are challenging, and who, even in the face of difficulties, maintain a positive attitude. This creates a conducive environment for personal and collective growth. Moreover, the exchange of experiences is something I value greatly. Talking to people with different backgrounds has taught me to see problems from new perspectives. Everyone has something to offer, and learning from others' experiences is a valuable form of growth. Instead of competing, I began to see the people around me as allies in the pursuit of success. This shift in mindset made a significant difference in how I approach challenges and opportunities. Finally, maintaining healthy and positive relationships doesn't mean ignoring life's difficulties. We all go through tough times, and being surrounded by people who can offer emotional support is essential. Having friends who listen to me and support me during challenging moments gives me the strength to keep going. Therefore, by prioritizing this type of relationship, I'm not only investing in my happiness but also in my ability to face life's ups and downs with more ease and resilience. Embrace discomfort. A concept that changed my perspective on personal growth was the idea of embracing discomfort. For a long time, I avoided situations that made me anxious or insecure, seeking safety in the comfort zone. However, over time, I realized that it is precisely outside that zone where the greatest opportunities for learning and growth occur. Discomfort is, in fact, a sign that I am on a path of evolution. When I started putting myself in uncomfortable situations, I noticed that the anxiety I felt was often just my brain trying to protect me. What I didn't know was that this protector was preventing me from exploring my true potential. Every time I challenged myself, even when I felt uneasy, I emerged stronger and more confident. This experience taught me to value discomfort as part of the process, not as an obstacle to be avoided. One of the ways I found to embrace discomfort was by exposing myself to new experiences. I began attending workshops, taking courses, and even traveling alone. At first, all of this seemed terrifying, but as I allowed myself to experiment, I realized that each new experience enriched me in ways I never imagined. What once felt like a burden became a valuable source of learning. I learned to accept that often growth comes from situations that challenge us. Additionally, I realized that discomfort can be a powerful tool for developing empathy. By going through difficult experiences, I began to better understand the struggles and challenges faced by others. This greater awareness made me a more supportive friend and ally. Thus, embracing discomfort not only helped me grow as an individual, but also allowed me to be a more positive and understanding presence in the lives of others. Throughout life, I learned that every experience, every conversation, and every challenge brings a valuable lesson. Now, at 80 years old, I realize that wisdom comes not only from age, but also from reflecting on our choices. Each of us has a unique path, and therefore, we should not compare ourselves to others. What are you learning today that can shape your tomorrow? Remember, life is made up of moments, and how we seize each one determines our happiness. Are you surrounding yourself with people who elevate your energy? Or have you allowed emotional vampires to drain your well-being? The choice is yours. Embrace the now, because the future is built on the decisions we make today. Have you allowed yourself to feel the pain of growth, or are you settling in the comfort zone? Discipline can be challenging, but the fruits it bears are incomparable. At 80, I say, don't let fear govern your life. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Go after it. And above all, remember that each day is a new opportunity to reinvent yourself. So, what will your next step be? Let's embark on this journey of self-discovery and growth together.